Obviously, Brent, it's really important stuff, trying to get some discussion going. We need dialogue, and as you can see here, to get people to actually start talking about these issues, because to the extent that there really is some logic behind what we could do to deal with all the health costs of smoking, we need the discussion.
We need the discussion, and it's interesting to me that it took like a global forum on nicotine folks, people from the UK, to come over here to BC to make this discussion happen.
Well, and still hugely controversial, right? So that we have people from the BC Ministry of Health who did everything they could to try to scuttle it, try to prevent the conversation from happening.
How do you mean?
Well, saying that they would not attend, they didn't want this to happen, that they were saying some, I think really defamatory things about Jerry Stimson and why they wouldn't have anything to do with this. I mean, it was just this really awful bit of character assassination, and I think it's causing discomfort. The people who can feel that, if we just treat vaping like smoking, we're just going to get everybody to quit. To have people come in with the sort of credentials that people like Jerry and Patty and others do on drug harm reduction and say, we really need to have this discussion, and BC is the place to have it. I mean, when you look at the precedents that have been set here. So I think it's important, and I think, if to the extent we can force it onto the agenda to get people to actually think about it, to have to justify positions that they're taking. Now, I think we can change policy.
So a lot of Canadians trust you, whether it's vapers, whether it's advocates, whether it's people in academia, lawyers, public health, government. How important are these guys that have come over here from the UK? I mean, it just seems a little strange that, why are they here?
Right. Well, you're dealing with people who are, leading lights in the whole area of drug harm reduction. People like Jerry Stimson, who wasn't able to make it here today, but helped set all this up. I mean, Jerry's been one of the leading authorities in the world on drug harm reduction for a very long time, as an academic, as an advocate, very, very highly regarded. He's in his 70s now, and he's looking at this and saying, this is huge. We need to deal with this. We can deal with it. And he's committed to putting his own time and resources into doing that.
So give us a real deep understanding of what happened here with the BC Ministry of Health.
Well, I've only seen parts of it, but the meeting was set, it was supposed to go, and then there were attacks on some of the people who were involved by people with the BC Ministry of Health, claiming that, well, among other things, that Jerry was getting $960 million from Philip Morris. Which was news to Jerry and news to all of us, and wondering why he won't share that. But I mean, it was silliness. They either got total misinformation or it was character assassination. It was very off-putting.
Isn't it a bit par for the course, though, for those that are anti-vaping, so vehemently anti-vaping?
Yeah, well, and not just on vaping, but I think we've talked about Juma's wonderful book, Innovation and Its Enemies, that innovation is almost invariably opposed for various reasons. And when it's opposed, it's very seldom is it opposed on very rational grounds. It's opposed on very emotive grounds. So if somebody doesn't like the idea of refrigeration, they don't try to find a problem with the science in your refrigerators. They attack you personally.
Sure, yeah, it always turns into an ad hominem
Yes.
in that situation. It's just, astounding that people in the BC Ministry of Health, at this time, this day, would even take an effort to kind of stop an event like this from happening. When I was a kid, growing up, and I know for generations of kids before me, the old wives' tale. Mom used to always say, now don't smoke, Johnny, because if you do, it's going to stunt your growth.
Right.
Is that any different than nicotine damages developing brain?
Right. Yes. Yeah. Well, I think you're bang on. I mean, we have no evidence that the nicotine is causing brain damage. For someone to say nicotine, I mean, it will literally change the structure and functioning of your brain. Well, yeah, so will an art appreciation class, so will jogging, so will absolutely anything you do. There's brain plasticity. I mean, so it's an absolute nowhere argument. And
it's the same old wives' tale.
It's the same old wives' tale of saying it'll stunt your growth, and there's things that'll cause hair to grow on your palms, and it's just trying to.
I think that's the way to actually start addressing these people. When you hear that, you just put out the old wives' tale, and just right there, just go. It's like drop your mic.
It's losing sight of the real issue, right? I mean, we're looking at figures of 20,000 deaths a day globally. A day, 20,000 from sucking smoke into lungs to get nicotine. And it's the dirty delivery system. And then every time you look at, here's what we could do to deal with it, they say, no, this is a moral problem. They just have to shape up and do what I tell them to do. We need the power of the state to force people to behave in the ways we think they should behave. When has it ever worked?
Yeah, right. And I mean, obviously, you and I are continuing a conversation we've been having for 2 years at this moment. And I mean, isn't that always the case? Is that government wants to tell people what to do? I heard, Susie McDonald, when she was Director General of the Tobacco Control Directorate at Health Canada, we sat down and had that big one-on-one interview with her last year, and she said something, just very quickly. She said, "Well, we're going to allow it," like when forced to explain the no comparisons clause of S5 and a bunch of the other things and stuff. But she was like, "Well, but in the end, like we're going to allow vaping."
Right.
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You're going to allow it. Now that just seems to be the public health mantra: is that nothing is legal until public health has allowed it.
Right. Yeah. But actually, what's interesting here, because we attribute to public health, the people who are doing this is not a public health approach. I mean, if you look at the study of public health, the field of public health, the philosophy, the ethics of public health, what they're doing is not public health. What they're doing is a moralistic imposition of their values on someone else. That's the antithesis of public health.
But prohibition was public health.
No, prohibition was promoted by people who had a moralistic view, and they justified it saying it was public health. It was not public health, because public health, there are objective criteria to things like public health. So if I say, Brent, I want to encourage you to have a healthier life. If you'd like to go for a run around the seawall with me later today, let's do that. That's public health. If I say, Brent, I've decided you have to live your life differently than what you're doing, and I'm going to tell you what sort of running shoes you have to get and when you have to run, the pace you have to run, and how far you have to run, that's no longer public health. That's me making judgments and trying to impose them on you.
Sure, it sounds like a progressive country, though.
That's right. Well, we can discuss where it's progressing, too.